What's up, guys? Dusty Grant here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please take a second to subscribe to my channel. It helps me out immensely and costs you nothing. Do it. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the first installment of DG and Friends, the Twitch exclusive live streaming event. It looks like everything is working, which is an absolute miracle and shock to me, but it is indeed working. So yes, I am stoked to be here, guys. This is an idea that I had. I thought it was a good way to showcase some of my friends and some interesting people, bring them on, talk about their journeys, chop it up, talk about current events, whatever we're going to be talking about. Tonight, Bwana's actually going to be announcing Rise Again's guitar player. We're going to get into some Q&A stuff. We're just going to chat and have a good time. We really hope you guys are, having a good evening. Crack a beer, chill with us, start sending some comments in. If you have questions, definitely feel free to ask them. We'll try to get to as many as we can. But without further ado, I would like to introduce the inaugural guest, Bwana Villa of Rise Again. How you doing tonight, Bwana?
Good, popping the cherry.
Popping the cherry. It feels really good. This is the fact that we're both on screen and this is working and it's streaming live right now is absolutely blowing my mind.
I never doubted you, man.
You never doubted me? If you were down here in the basement with me when I was trying to set some of this shit up from time to time, you probably would be doubting me a little more. You're quarantined at the moment, is that correct?
That is.
How long have you been quarantined?
I think I'm going on, what is today, Wednesday, 10 days thus far. So I have until they be off of quarantine, so I have prison, basically.
Your mic is cutting out a little bit there. Is your signal okay?
Oh.
You're muting. You're muted.
I'm muted?
Nope, now I can hear you. You were like cutting out.
That's weird.
Can everybody hear everything? You're coming across pretty quiet on the stream, someone is saying.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I can get closer.
Yeah, get closer. Get closer to your
better?
Get closer to your fans. I mean, it's
Is
better,
that,
but
is
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have to
better?
You're going to have to enunciate. The people are having it seems like people are having a little trouble hearing you. Does that sound better out there for you guys? I find that when you go live, this kind of stuff happens all the time. And like when I'm streaming live, I can never tell. And then someone will be like, "Hey, dude, your mic is muted." And it's been like 30 minutes and I've just been down here talking. Like, oh, shit.
Well, hopefully it's better now.
Yeah, I think it is. Everybody's saying that they can hear you well. It looks like Mushu is in here. Yeah, we got some people starting to come in. You guys definitely feel free to interact in the comments. We're gonna try to make this as interactive as possible. So what have you been up to? What have you been doing?
Other than my quarantine?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's not a lot you can do, but what are you doing in quarantine? Because I know you're busy all the time. I know you.
Honestly, I've been doing a lot of guitar playing, a lot of messing around with the cover songs that I've been doing, and just doing some writing and working on, back end band stuff as far as like, online stuff that, we've talked about. The new TikTok and all of that stuff is a little time consuming because I've got to do a lot of video editing and learning new software, which I'm sure you're familiar with as well.
Yeah.
But definitely spending a lot of time working on new music and kind of trying to coordinate with Shane. He's been my second in command, helping me out while I've been in quarantine. They've still been practicing and getting the set tied down. So
do you feel like you guys are pretty much ready to rock and roll if you were to get offered shows now or with your new guitar player?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I'm just curious.
We just solidified that. Like, we just made that decision last week where we're at with that. And I'm not in any big rush to jump out and do shows right now anyways, to be honest with you. I work in the medical field, so I kind of knew that a little bit more restrictions were going to be coming back around. But as far as like us doing shows, that's probably not going to be until the beginning of 2021 for us anyways, because if we're lucky,
the beginning of 2021, the way things are looking now.
Yeah, and we're hyper focused on doing the online thing right now. Really, we've got some stuff coming up with that later this year, as far as like some playthrough stuff that we're going to be doing, full band, and Shane's actually going to be doing some playthrough stuff, just like to kind of give a perspective from his point of view on that. Like I was saying, I've said it in a post before. A lot of times when you're in bands, a first person gets a lot of attention, and a lot of that fails to include the back end, the drums and the guitar player and the bassist. And I've always hated that. So he's pushing himself out a little bit more into the forefront, which he's been helping me a lot with the slack for the band and because for a long time I did a lot of the stuff by myself. So it's been nice to have him come in and be on board with helping me out with stuff.
It's nice to have someone to. It's nice to have. Yeah, it's nice to have someone help carry the load sometimes. Like that's a weird thing that I experience sometimes. Like, man, the only reason I'm not doing this today is because I'm just tired to. I'm just too tired to do it, or I don't even want to bounce it. I don't have anyone to bounce it off of. So like I'll bounce it off you or Shane, but if it's not,
then I'll get a message.
but if it's not at the right time, sometimes I'll be writing a riff or something. I don't want to stop and message, but it's like if I was jamming with somebody I was used to jamming with or something like that, I could be like, "What do you think, man? Oh yeah, we should." Shorten up the pre or whatever the thing would be. The collaboration is a big a big forces you to challenge yourself musically a little more, and that's something that I remembered a lot when I was in the studio this weekend, just having somebody there producing and helping me trim the fat and all that type of stuff. It's like, man, it's so nice to collaborate with people. So, and I know Shane's been pushing himself pretty hard, and I'm sure that you're probably seeing that translate in numbers too. I mean, you have more than one person promoting. You have different arms,
Absolutely.
different personalities. So I mean, that's something that you have to utilize as a band. I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It makes no sense for one person to be doing all of everything, especially on that end. Like you said, you've got five, say 4 to 5 different people. If they're all doing that, that increases your reach exponentially. It just like makes it a huge difference. And I've definitely seen his growth as far as like just like with his personal page and the interaction he's been getting, and that's been nice to see. I definitely plan on getting the new members that are going to be coming on board to do the same thing, but it's new for them, so I've kind of got to do a little educating as well as far as like how to do that.
Well, so I noticed with Shane that he's definitely focused on his content a little more, like the quality of the stuff that he's posting. But I think like if there's one good thing that we can take from this whole pile of shit that we've been walking through, it's that it has given me a little bit more of a chance to reassess my game plan, to look at some of the areas where I have weaknesses. As far as I think sometimes, just since I'm so limited for time, I am not necessarily focused on creating things that are actually engaging to people, that actually encourage them to engage and like use social media in a way. And I become like this promotional robot. I'm like, okay, I have to post something on Twitter today, link to Spotify, and like, I just don't think that's the way anymore.
And we've talked about that before. We've talked about that. Actually, I think it was on our last trip that we took that we talked about that. But yeah, that's something that is important to me too, is keeping things organic. I think it was for a long time when I was with Friday's Waiting, that's kind of how my mentality was, is it was a lot more about, business, business, business. And I think the difference has been that like, since my changes personally, like with like getting to know myself better and getting more in touch with myself, is kind of sharing a bit more of who I actually am as a person. Because I think for a long time, people were kind of intimidated by me, strangely. I don't really know why. I think it's just because I'm super quiet unless I really know you. But so that was one of the things that I kind of took upon myself, is that I've just kind of been sharing a little bit more about who I am, my likes, and just me and the things I do in my day to day and how I relates to people. That seems, in my opinion, to be the better way to go about things. Obviously, I still do the business stuff, but I also have that getting to know people more personal level which includes me like in person, like talking to people and engaging with people. Whereas before, I did that in the past, but I think it's a little different now. It's just more on a friendly basis, you know.
Yeah, and I think if you do more of that and you let people in a little bit more, it probably helps. It probably helps them engage your music a little more. Because have you ever been in that situation where you've met somebody from a band that you're like, from a band that you're a fan of or something like that, and then you meet someone from that band and they're an asshole to you? And
Oh
like
yeah,
those songs that you loved all of a sudden sound like shit, and you're like, throw the CD out the fucking window because you're like, man, I looked up to that band. It happened to me, and I'm not even gonna name the band because I'm not here to fucking sling mud. But this was like back in the day, and it was the first time I ever had an opportunity to really open for like a bigger band. You know, it was in the first band I was ever in, so I was stoked. And they were there for sound check, and I went up to one of the guys, and I was like, man, I'm a big fan. You know, this is so cool. This is my first. And he was just kind of like, pfft, and just like totally blew me off. And I was just like, well, went out to the car, broke the CD. I'm like, fuck that guy. You know, I don't care. I don't care if he's the second coming of Freddie Mercury or, whatever he might be. He's not going to have me as a fan anymore. I don't think the world that we live in now, it's okay for people to treat their fans like that because everything's so transparent these days. I mean, everyone lives their life online. You can't get away from people, and you can't get away with anything if you're, trying to be a public figure or you're trying to promote something. So.
No, I definitely think that's true. And I mean, you've seen that. You see that with like people that are huge that, like I've never met. I've heard, their reputation precedes them. As far as like, how that goes. And I never want to be that person. I've witnessed that myself, like, gone to a show with a friend that was like like on the way there, they were just like, man, I was in the worst place in my life and I was suicidal and that album saved my life. Like, I just have to tell them that. And they were like, they met them at the show, they told them that, and they're like, okay. And that was it. They were like just destroyed by that. And I was like, wow, that's horrible.
Well, what a bummer. What a bummer. Yeah. But another situation that I sometimes don't think people think about when you're on the spectator part of it is that, you might not know the kind of day that performer's had. I mean, I to be honest with you, like there's been some times for sure that I've rolled up to shows where I didn't want to play. I didn't feel well, or something was going really crappy in my personal life, or I just didn't have a clear head, or whatever you want to attribute it to. But it's pretty hard to go in there and especially do the indie, as we do. We hang out in the bars with people. We chat that up to everybody. You got to work the room. You got to be in the room. You got to talk to people. These people took time out of their Saturday nights to come see you, and you don't want to let them down, but sometimes it's freaking hard to find the energy. And I can't imagine after being on the road for 30 or 40 days straight and then having to keep wearing that thing all the time. I mean, I think sometimes people might take that for granted a little bit. I'm not saying that gives artists an excuse to treat bite the hand that feeds them necessarily, but I definitely think you have to be somewhat sympathetic to that a little bit as a fan or a spectator.
No, I totally agree with that. I do think that, that should be taken into consideration, but I think there's like, I think you can tell the difference, like, because like I said, usually if it's like a consistent behavior, it follows the band, like people know about it everywhere you go. So, I mean, but I do agree with that as far as, taking that into consideration. But I also think if you get to the point where you're doing it and you hate it and you're jaded and you're done and you don't even have that patience anymore for the people that are like supporting you, stop.
Yeah.
You stop.
Especially because surely if you ever get to that point, unless you're like this canned thing that's from birth raised to be this like pop, like this Miley Cyrus type situation or something like that, you have to have at least done a little something to cut your teeth to get to where you are. You have to remember the hustle and the hunger and the struggle and the tribulation and all that. and it's like, do you get to a point where you make so much money, or you just piss excellence and you don't care anymore, or you completely forget where that comes from? Who knows? I mean, I'll never know that probably, but I mean, imagine being a dude like, like fucking Ed Sheeran or some like super or what's the dude on The Voice, the tattooed guy that all the chicks like?
Adam Levine.
Yes, I mean, imagine being that dude. I mean, like that dude can't go anywhere, ever.
I would never want that life.
I don't necessarily. I mean, it's never gonna happen for me, so I don't have to worry about it. But like, my goodness, and if that dude like looks at somebody wrong, that shit is gonna be on TMZ.
Oh yeah, it'll be there photograph and video, and they'll be like, he slapped somebody, even if he didn't slap somebody. But you know how that goes.
I would just live in like an island. I would just go somewhere and completely isolate myself, and then I'd chop her in for like The Voice, and then just chop her into Coachella, headline that, chop her in to fucking do everything I do. Go to the doctor's office, be like, do you have a helipad? Not coming. Landing on top. Yeah, Matt has a question for me. Dusty, do you have any release dates for your new songs? I do not. I just finished tracking them on Saturday evening. Dawson told me that it was probably going to be at least a couple weeks before I heard any mixes. So it's probably going to be 2-3 weeks before I hear a mix. Then it has to be sent off to mastering, and then I have to come up with kind of my promotional strategy and everything, and I need to know which one to release first. It's just hard to say without having heard the mixes yet. So as soon as I know that, I'll be letting you know, and there's probably a good chance I'll be swinging by and letting you hear the mixes and giving me some of your advice. So as soon as I know stuff, you'll know stuff. I promise you on that. There's some questions starting to come in too. We got one for Bwana here. What are the conditions a guitar player has to meet to audition for Rise Again?
The conditions. There is a process. There is an interview process. There's an application process first. As far as like, the band, I consider it to be a pretty big deal for us, and it's a family venture, and so we handle it in a very professional. It's just like any other job you would apply for. You'd fill out an application. And that application gives you some information about us and what we are about, what we stand for, what we expect. And then if you are on board with that stuff, then you fill out the application and send it in to us, and we'll review it. And then after that, if that works, then we do a video process where we send you 5 tracks that you learn, and then you send us a video of you playing with those. And if that's all kosher, then we set up an in-person.
The Ether Boys are in the house. I'll just throwing them some metal horns. So how many people would you say, and we're not going to get into who the guitar player is yet. We have some other stuff that we want to cover first. But so what would you say roughly, how many people did you have that actually made it through the process where you guys were sending videos and all that type of stuff? Did you guys have a ton of people or did you, or what?
Completely through, I would say probably 5.
Okay.
That got completely through it. Some of the people, some people just don't have that kind of patience, but that's kind of another one of the reasons why I do it is because if you don't take it seriously enough to put that little bit of effort forward, then that kind of tells me a little bit about your personality. So that's fully agree.
So you kind of already know, and the questions are going to start popping in here. So I'm going to try to get to those instead of segging to other stuff that we had planned to seg to, because the inquiring minds want to know, Bwana. Let's see. I'm going to try to keep up with these. The next one is, what is the next cover you're going to work on? Do you have that? Is it Losing My Religion? Did I see that?
Yes. That's going to be REM's Losing My Religion, which I've been working on this week. It's
Thought that I heard you laughing.
That's it, but it's definitely gonna have my taste on it, which is.
I can see that working for you.
Depressing lullabies.
I look more like Michael Stipe than you. Bald, I guess, is the Michael Stipe, the singer for REM. Come on.
No, you would have to shave that beard off.
Yeah, and I'd have to lose about 100 pounds. That guy is
You know, you know the
hitty.
good thing about this lighting that you're in? The lighting that you're in makes you look super tan.
It does.
It does. You look so tan right now.
Get a load of this, ladies. Tan as can be. Tan as can be. That's nice to hear. I'm glad. This is perfect then. I was thinking of if the color of the I was thinking if the color of the lights were, if they were going to work for the show, but now that you've said that they're staying forever. I'm never changing them. Never changing them ever again. Owen has asked a few questions. And he's got a few that I brought in from Facebook and from social media. For a second, guys, I have to handle a little business. Follow us both on social media. You see at DustyGrant57, at Rise Again ICT across the bottom of the screen. That's where you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, all that type of stuff. Make sure you connect with Rise Again on YouTube. Please make sure if you're watching this now on Twitch, please follow me here. Every little bit helps. I'm going to have episodes up if you want to rewatch the episodes or you didn't catch the whole thing. I'm going to be putting episodes up on my YouTube channel. Just search for Dusty Grant and you'll find me. I'll have a certain separate section for the DG and Friends, and I'll have archives of all the episodes once completed. Probably take me a day or two to get them online, so bear with me. But yeah, done with the business part of it. Sorry about that. And they're in the chat there, guys. There's a flow page link as well, so you can connect with all the Rise Again stuff there by clicking on that link. It should take you where you need to go. Is there a new direction with the new members for the music for you guys? And that's Owen asking, and he sent a couple others that we'll probably get to as well. But are you finding there's going to be a new direction?
We're constantly trying to evolve, and I don't really like to box us into anything in particular. I think from the first, okay, in case everybody doesn't know, Friday's Waiting became Rise Again. So let's make that clear. Just why the music is the same. We rebranded a couple years ago, but I would say if you listen to our very first album to now, it's definitely evolved over time. It still sounds like us. I'm sure that will probably happen again as our taste changes in music and music changes as the years go by. I know that we are definitely into some heavier stuff these days, and I know me and Shane for sure are wanting to kind of venture a little bit more into that, getting a little bit more into the, the style of like Spirit Box or those types of bands. I'm not sure if we'll go that heavy. As far as like with all the screaming, doing more screaming, I'm definitely working on doing more screaming. But I'm always gonna stay true to being a vocalist, to being a singer. That's never gonna change. So I would say that it's probably gonna have some evolution and it's gonna change a little bit, but it'll still have the flavor that we're pretty much known for, which is that kind of tribal, instinctual, very movement-based music. So
that's something I've always appreciated about your guys' stuff is the dynamics. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of fat to trim. I mean, there's a lot of parts and there's a lot of stuff going on, but it doesn't feel like it's a 7-minute song, and there's certain bands that can pull that off. You know what I mean? Like even the Zombie Drive-In record, I was listening to that on the way home. That type of a band, they can pull off those longer songs. For me, sometimes I get stuck in a riff or something and I think it sounds good, and then I record it and then I play it back. I'm like, Jesus, man, you're gonna do the verse for that long? Like you're gonna have to cut all that shit out, and I just, but
we did a 7-minute song on the album 7. But I think the way we got away with that is that the song transitioned to a completely different sounding song halfway through it. So it didn't have that droning, oh my God, is this ever end type of feeling.
But I like bands that flesh it out too. I like even your Mastodons and stuff like that. Bands that play these, a little mathier, longer songs. I'm cool with that. I think that's for certain bands. And I think it's not for other bands, like for me, if I sat there and played a 7-minute song, I think everybody would probably kill themselves or leave. It'd be
is that because of the style of your music?
Yeah, that could be that could be possible.
What the content is.
I've got a surprise for everybody as far as that's concerned. But let's see, it just got spicy. But yeah, we got some people tuning in. That's awesome. Did you get your Norton's Brewery? Did you get a chicken fried steak from Norton's today?
No, I did not. I actually got one from. They only have chicken fried chicken, I believe.
What are
But
you
I
sipping on? Are you sipping on a beer?
yes, I went to go. I went to go get some black cherry. Um,
Mad Dog 2020.
White Claw. Huh? What'd you
Mad
say?
Dog. Mad Dog 2020. Some black cherry.
Yeah, I haven't drank that since high school. I mean college.
Yeah, I mean last week.
But no, I'm drinking. So, but she recommended Wichita Brewing Company's Black Raspberry, which is what I'm having, the hard seltzer, and I actually do like it.
Oh, so that's a local seltzer.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah, that's something that the
I
breweries
try
are.
to buy local.
That's nice of you to do. That's something that the breweries are doing now more that I've seen is like more seltzers and stuff like that. It must be relatively easy to do. Yeah, we got some questions rolling in here. We can embellish on this shit and we'll be here for 3 hours. I'm gonna blow through a few questions. All right, so you didn't get your steak. You do have a Wichita-based beer. I'm drinking Modelo because you can buy it in bulk. So that's my whole angle there. I love Modelo anyway. Nobody's asking me though. They're only asking you. And I don't blame them. I'm an asshole.
I'm asking you.
Are
you drinking the regular
Modelo?
Negro?
I drank a few Modelo Negros last weekend, but I'm just I'm sipping on the regular. I've still got the old Big Fish Bail Bonds koozie sitting right by with the Sprout and Dusty. I'm still rolling the same. I'm a creature of habit. Every time I come in this room, it's Modelo. I should get a sponsorship.
I didn't think about grabbing my koozie.
Yeah, you should have. And I'm gonna type right now in the chat. Modelo should sponsor me. Tell Modelo tweet at Modelo to sponsor me. Thank you guys. Let's see. It's better to evolve. People say. I'm gonna figure out a way to where I can pull comments up here so you can actually see them on the screen. I haven't figured that out yet though. I'm not going to lie to you, and this is all as far as I'm concerned, this is technical enough for the first episode. So if anyone's expecting more technical stuff from me, it'll come in the future as I learn all this stuff. Let's see. Bwana, is the new guitarist as sexy as Lando from Ether?
I don't know if that's possible.
It's pretty tough.
I mean, I'm a Hugo fan personally. I'm still waiting on my bathwater, but we won't talk about that.
Okay. Fair enough. We don't want to put you on the spot.
He knows
We
what
don't
I'm
want
talking
to.
about.
We don't want to put you on the spot here on the
He knows what
DG
I'm
show.
talking about.
There's somebody from Ether's in here saying, "Oh gosh," like they're a bunch of choir boys or something. That's completely crap.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so was there anything the guitar player? Enough with the bathwater. Hugo is saying. Was there anything special?
Never gonna let it go, man.
Well, if you guys are gonna keep talking about it, you're gonna have to let us in. So it's up to you.
All right, fine. There's an inside joke. There was this post that he did. I don't remember what it was, but I started saying these really disgusting comments to him, like that I would drink his sweat,
Shocking.
or that he should save me his bathwater type situation. I mean, it's all in fun because you know how sometimes we get a little weird in our posts these days, but that's what that's about. I told him I was like, it was pickup lines, and I said, "You're so fine, I'd drink your bathwater." That was my
Oh my God. There are some things like that people say, and I'm not even gonna and I'm not even squeamish about stuff. I mean, I'm not a choir boy by any stretch of the imagination, but there's some things that guys say like, "Oh, I would do this," to be with that girl, and I'm just like, dude, you think that works?
Somebody said that to my mom. Okay.
Oh, like I'd eat a mile of the one I'm talking about. It's bad. I'll tell if you want to talk about it in private. Anybody, just let me know. But I'm not gonna do it on the show, even though this is not a kid's show. Was there anything special about the new guitar player? Was it the style, sound, just met all the requirements? What was the like deciding thing where you guys were like, yes, we need to pick this guy?
I am very, and I think Shane is too. We're very connection driven. I think it was for us. It wasn't even necessarily like how skilled you are or talented you are. Obviously, the music has to work well with us, but I think it was a lot about the relationship.
Yeah.
And we heard some really good guitar players, but I think it was more about like, do we connect with you on a personal level? Like, are we going to be able to like be in a vehicle together? And are you going to understand like where we're coming from? Can we communicate well musically? You know, do we speak the same language? You know, are you going to be able to take the fact that you're not, I mean, like we write as a band, like each person inputs. It's not like the guitar and that's it. And it's not the bass player plays the bass and that's it. We all talk about how the songs are going to be structured. The drums need to be longer here. Maybe you should try toms here. You know, whatever. Even like as far as my vocals or whatever, you know, if something's, you know, off, needs to be changed, you know, we discuss that and talk about it. So it had to do more about how we are as in that sense. So that was probably a big factor.
Yeah, because I mean, I know even when you were early on in the process and you were talking to me about it, it was kind of like, it kind of seemed like the connection with the person was a little bit more important than anything else. It's like, we can actually wait for somebody to learn the material. We can actually wait for somebody to, you know, get the riffs or to come in writing or anything like that. You're just like, we just want to make sure we have a cool person. So are you sure this person is going to be cool with me? Because you didn't even fucking ask me.
That was actually, I did talk to you about it.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, but it's not. But I still didn't get to interview the person. I still didn't get to sit him down like a dad and be like, no, I know you're taking my daughter out tonight. Curfew's 10:30 with these kids.
No, we did not do that. But I think you'll be okay with it. I think you'll be okay.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I'm sure you probably know each other.
I mean, I already know people. I'm not gonna pretend like the suspense is killing me, because I already know. That's why we're dragging it out and torturing your asses, because I already know. If it was me wanting to know who it was, and I didn't actually know, it would have been the first thing we talked about.
Yeah, you're right about
like, so welcome to the show. Who's your guitar player gonna be? Now that that's out of the way.
Which is why I told you already. But like, even when we were going through the process of like trying people out, I don't think there's a guitar player that, I mean, you're basically like an unofficial member of the band. Let's be honest. Just like me and Shane, basically, your backup band. You know,
pretty much.
It's just we're very involved in each other's lives. So even like when we were trying out guitar players, if they were somebody that was seriously considering, I always made you listen to their music and like, listen to this. Oh my God, this is amazing. But
yeah,
you know, this
kind of sketchy, a little weird.
Like, I don't know, it's just something's off. You know? But it really was. It's just about being comfortable. That's a big deal to me. Like us being comfortable together, and I think that we made a good decision.
If I lived in Wichita, I would have tried out. I would have. Hugo's saying he would have tried out if he lived in Wichita, because Hugo needs another band.
Oh my God, right?
Jesus Christ.
If you lived in Wichita, you would have tried out. You wouldn't have had a choice.
Yeah. Hugo would already be playing guitar for me if he lived in Wichita.
I'm telling you, man, we just need to get on the road, get a tour bus, and just have like a 3-band tour bus and just hit the road together. And we'll swap out members.
I am not gonna lie. Like, I've thought about, like, maybe I should just hire someone to play guitar for me. You know? And then I think about the fact that I would have to like consult somebody about anything or ask anybody anything, and I'm like, yeah.
But what if they're just a hired gun?
Yeah, I mean, if there's a hired gun, like, I imagine at some point I'm gonna like break an arm or a shoulder or something like that, and I'm gonna have to teach everybody, or I'm gonna have to teach someone how to play my shit at some time. But it's not like it's really all that hard. So maybe I should just hire someone that's really good looking. They could bring like a huge crowd with them and like play shirtless and like all oiled up. And then I just sit on a stool over there and sing while you know what I mean? I don't care.
Like we can fade into the background on that.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care how it happens as long as it happens. I mean, in
that case, why don't you just make him lip sync and you get behind the curtain?
Maybe I should just do that. I mean,
that's all you need to make it over the top.
I'm getting pretty tricky with production now. So, I mean, watch out. Next time you see me, it might be a fucking hologram.
Wizard of Oz and
shit. Jennifer's asking if we have zip-up hoodies for sale. I have a couple left from the first run I did, but to be honest with you, did not like them at all. So if you tell me your size, Jennifer, the next time we see each other at a show or something, I can just bring you one and give you one. I have some I'm trying to get rid of. I'm going to be doing a clearance at the end of the year to try to get rid of all my old merch. I've got a few shirts left that I'm just trying to clean up, but I'm planning to kind of planning to retool the whole merch arsenal after the new year when shows pick up again. It's so hard to know when to order merch now. Mm-hmm. Because like since the COVID thing, my online sales have picked up a little, but not significantly enough to justify ordering a bunch of stuff. But then the shows I was able to play, I sold a ton. Yeah, so it's like, exactly. I'm just wondering when it comes down to it, how many shirts am I going to need? Because I think when shows start back up, everybody's going to be chomping at the bit to go to shows and merch and that whole thing. It's probably going to be really good for a little bit if any of us can get gigs that pay, because there's going to be so many people fighting for gigs, I'm sure. But yeah, that's the story. Do you have any zip-up hoodies planned? You guys already had. Did you have zip-up hoodies already?
We sold out of our zip-up hoodies. We sold out of our pullover hoodies. I'm working on the same thing, selling out of the merch from the past year or whatever. And I wasn't too focused on getting new merch yet because we were so focused on getting the band, back in before we were doing any of that. And we knew we weren't going to be playing shows. We played one show. We had plenty of merch for that last show. And then we played that last show, and they wiped us out pretty good. But we've still got some shirts and koozies and some of the other stuff left. But no, we haven't got any winter gear. But I've definitely been thinking about it. But like you said, it's just kind of hard to justify it right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm thinking about possibly going ahead and getting a small order in. But we'll see.
I wonder. I've been thinking about that too. Like just thinking, could I just make a cool design? Whether it's a snapback hat or a freaking hoodie or a T-shirt or whatever. And I'm just wondering, like, could I pre-sell them? Could I just say, hey, PayPal me this, and I'll have one made for you. Here's the deadline, and then you make this many or whatever. But I find that a lot of people don't. I find that a lot of people like say they're going to pre-sale, or like I'll have a lot of people, especially small people.
Oh yeah.
Episode 1, going after the small people. Mm-hmm. Going right after you. Look into my eyes, small people. Next time I ask for a merch, if you would buy one and you say yes, I need a small, and you chime in, I'm actually using those comments to make orders for merch. And if you're a tiny person and you can't make it out to the show because you're too short to get in the car, or whatever your little ass is doing, because you can't come out and buy the shirt that you're supposed to get, stop commenting, little people. I'm not trying to be littlest, but if you look on my merch rack back here, where there's actual shit still left, smalls.
We got lucky we did that big or it wasn't, it was the Beard Festival that we did at Brickyard, and there was a ton of kids there, and we sold all of our smalls that day.
Oh, you lucky.
All of them to kids. But no small adults, not a one.
I never get any shows where kids are allowed. I can't imagine why. It's weird.
It's nothing to do with your mouth.
Yeah, maybe not.
The Crown Uptown show was all ages though.
Yeah, the Crown Uptown show, and I still strayed from the path a few times there. Even though my own children were in attendance, I still strayed from the path.
They hear worth of a Cardi B song, that's fine.
That's true. Yeah, like 14-year-olds are listening to Cardi B, and I'm worried about what I say. I'm not nearly as risque as her. It's starting to feel old though. Because I heard my stepdaughter listen to Cardi B, and I'm like, wow, that's nice for a 15-year-old to be listening to.
I didn't want to like her, but I watched on Netflix. There's that it's like some rap, The Voice kind of thing, but for rap.
Yeah.
He was one of the judges on there. God, I can't help but like her. She's just hilarious. I didn't want to like her, but I do now. That sucks.
Yeah, I honestly don't hate Cardi B, to be honest with you, because like she's encouraging women to be a little more, forward about stuff, and I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate of, I'm not going to get any deeper into that than I already went. Damn
Just
it.
don't watch her on TikTok. It's terrifying.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. If you could have a known guitarist, like if you could have plucked any guitarist from like a famous band, Matt's asking this. If you could pick any famous guitarist, like, or any guitarist, I guess, if you could just drop him into Rise Again, who would it be? I mean, without offending your new guitar player, because he's obviously great.
The Beartooth guitar player or the guitar player? Honestly, I'm really, really digging Spirit Box. And also Destiny Potato.
Destiny Potato.
It's either Destiny's Potato or Destiny Potato. I'm not sure. Be Destiny Potato.
Is that the name of the band?
Yeah, it's not any worse than Bad Flamingos.
Bad Flamingo is an awesome name.
They are.
That made me. They are. That made me listen to them. I'm like, Bad Flamingo. I want to hear what they sound like, and they sound exactly like a Bad Flamingo. It's fantastic. Shout out to Bad Flamingo. I'm guessing they're not one of the people tuning in tonight, but if they're out there, I love you, Bad Flamingo. Thank you. When you tweeted back to me, when you tweeted back to me the other day, it made my week. Did I send that to you?
No.
Oh, I sent it to Shane. I must have sent it to Shane because I tweeted something about Bad Flamingo, and then they saw it and retweeted it or whatever, and I was like, check it out, Shane. It's over, buddy. I'm famous now. Bad Flamingo's retweeting me. It's nice. Yeah, so follow us on Twitter at DustyGrant57, Bwana, Rise Again ICT, at Rise Again ICT. Let's see. That was a good question, actually. If I could pick a guitar player, there's not even a.
I know who it is.
Yeah, everyone already knows. It's Jerry Cantrell.
Yeah.
He would be my best friend. I'd be like, what do you need? Do you need anything, Jerry? You need some coffee? Whatever you need, buddy. I love you. I love you so much. Anything I can get you? I'd be so on. I mean, it would just, all my songs would be so much better. He could sing all those beautiful harmonies and all that type of. You just plug that guy into any band and it makes him more awesome.
Too bad to drop $20,000 to win that bid.
Oh yeah, the experience with him. Man, if I would have won that, I don't even know if I'd have been able to like walk out of the airport. You know what I mean? I'd have been I'd have been on baby deer legs, like. And I don't know what happened. Like, I mean, I've always really liked them, and I've always been a huge fan of his and all that type of stuff. But like in the last, I don't know, 18 months or so, the fanboy levels have just shot through the roof. You know, like I've been listening to his solo albums, and I'm like, God damn, he's even a badass on his solo stuff. You know, he's a beast.
Maybe it's because you play guitar and maybe you like have a bigger respect for the effort and the skill that it takes to do what he does.
Yeah. I try to, like, I've been, you know, Down in a Hole has been one of those things that has been like an ongoing fight with me, and I haven't had a lot of time to work on it, but when I work on that song, I'm just like, man, that is an awesome song. And I know that he wrote that tune, and I'm pretty sure, I'm sure someone will correct me if he didn't, but it's just, yeah, that's probably what it is. But
Is that the one you're working on?
Yes. Yeah, it's the one we worked on for like 5 minutes, and then that whole idea, I don't know what happened to it, but I guess we'll find out. We'll find out down the road. What's that?
I think we should still cover it.
We should. We definitely should. And I've been working on my vocal range, as you know, so, you know, I'm going to be singing soprano soon. I've been starting to sing Jeff Rolka's Sopranos and all that type of stuff. Hi, Jeff. I'm getting very inside jokey here. Okay, so they could cover Alice in Chains song? No. So I think it's about time. I think you need to tell us, you know, what the selection process was like, how you decided on it, and I think you need to tell us who Rise Again's new guitar player is. I think people have been waiting long enough, and I think it's time to come out with it.
You don't tell me what to do.
I don't, but this is my show, and you do whatever I want on my show, or I will.
You don't run me.
I will stop this. I will turn this stream around.
And then I'll. Too bad I already told you, because like then you'll never know, but you already know.
I will turn this stream around.
Well, after a long process of trying out guitar players, and there were quite a few, sometimes you just are meant to be with who you're meant to be with. And sometimes musically, you just kind of have a soulmate. And that person for me is Jeremy Twist. He was our original guitar player for Friday's Waiting. All of you know that. He moved away. I was very upset about it. And we kept in touch during that time. And then he moved back and he filled in on some shows for us. And we tried out other guitar players and we did definitely give them a fair chance. But I think that there's just something as far as like how me and Jeremy write together that's just kind of undeniable. So he had contacted us and we discussed, getting together, jamming, and seeing how things were. And we had some long talks about what our plans were and if we were on the same page. And we are. So that is who is going to be our new or old new guitar player is going to be Jeremy Twist. He's going to be coming back as our.
Amazing. So you're gonna keep Brandon on bass. You're gonna go with Jeremy on guitar. You're just gonna be a 4-piece, right?
I'm not sure about that yet.
Oh.
Brandon might be moving to second guitar. We are currently trying out bassist. So, and that's just because Brandon put in a lot of work while we were going through the change.
Right.
And he's a very good guitar player.
That's his first instrument, right? Like he picked up the bass for you guys, right? Or he played both?
I think he played bass first, and then he went guitar.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought it was the other way around.
He definitely plays guitar really well. He's done that in the past. It's been the lead guitar player, and he's very good at what he does. He picked up the songs really fast, as far as like learning all, and that's something that he's good at. He's a sponge, so that's something that I super appreciate about Brandon is if you give him something to do, he's gonna do it. I think the first practice we ever had with him, when he was trying out for bass, we sent him 5 songs and he showed up no. So that kind of thing.
That's always nice.
Oh yes, it is, because you know how it is when people show up and they don't know their.
Oh, it's fucking terrible.
So that says a lot about a person. But yeah, so it's gonna be Jeremy, and like I said, Brandon might be moving to second guitar. We're trying that out. That's kind of where we're at right now, is seeing if we want to do 2 guitars and a bassist, or if we want to just stay a 4-piece. But we are currently doing a tryout with bass player, and seeing where that's at. So
awesome.
We're not completely solid on the lineup right now, but if that changes, obviously we'll.
Gotcha. So you guys are you got a lot of moving parts.
Yes.
That's so awesome, and at the same time horrifying, because for me, I'm a creature of habit. You know what I mean? Like I kind of like things. I'm starting to get, especially as I get older, a little more crotchety and like a little more set in my ways, and like to have all these members moving around and to know we're writing new stuff and know I'm doing all that stuff just gives me an anxiety attack. It's like sometimes I feel like maybe I was meant to be like, I mean, I'm not necessarily a lone wolf because I have like you guys as friends, and I have a lot of people, like a lot of the people that are in the chat right now, like are my friends, but still, like when it comes down to the work part of my stuff, it's like I actually kind of appreciate being the only no, there's no Indians, there's just me, the chief.
Do something, you just do it.
Yeah. And that there is a luxury to that, but I definitely miss the collaboration part of writing. I think that's maybe why I gravitate towards working with a producer, because so you do have somebody's ideas to bounce off or whatever. But speaking of new music, Metavis, how did you guys? What was the inspiration for that song? Owen asked that question, and hopefully he'll be able to listen back when this gets on YouTube. But what was your, when did you write that? Why did you write that? How did you write that?
Oh my God. I actually wrote that song when you asked us to play that very first acoustic show with you. Me and Jeremy Wool were talking about playing together again. And we hung out at his apartment one day. It just kind of happened. And we wrote that song in 5 minutes. It happened super quick and it just turned out really well. The song that I wrote about, it was basically about my history with mental illness. I have a history. I have a diagnosis of major depressive disorder, psychosis, and also suicidal ideation tendencies. So um, that was written about kind of how I came out of that. Um, when we started writing, and when I got back into music in general, I decided that I wasn't going to do it this time around unless it was like something positive for me and uplifting. And I mean, if you listen to my older albums, they're kind of dark, like as far as like what I was going through. Like I was in a real bad place, like mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and that definitely comes through in a lot of the music because I was like having problems with my family and like religious matters and things like that. So that's a lot of what you see in Seven and End of Days, which is hence the titles, religious titles. Um, but so when we started this band, I like, I wanted to start with a song that was going to be something that was like an anthem for me and for other listeners that have like felt super rejected and kind of outcasted. And that's what that song is about. It's basically about me overcoming and how I overcame, my hating myself, basically.
So do you think
And
that was like a did you think that was like when you wrote that song, were you at like a turning point with your mental health?
absolutely.
Like that song, like, because it kind of seems to me like that song is like, you've got the rise again, you've got the rise again part. So it's like, I got to crawl out of this and, rise from the ashes, the phoenix thing,
Mhm.
obviously. But you also, that song definitely seems to be, like you said, an anthem for, I've figured this shit out. My boundaries are set. Now I'm gonna make positive changes in my life. Is that accurate?
No, that's definitely accurate. It's it's just all about, like finding out what it is that saves you. And
Yeah.
for me, for me personally, that's music. That's the audience. That's my God. I mean, I'm a pretty spiritual person as far as that goes. And I took 2 years off because I was just super lost at the time. So I needed to find myself and center myself before I could be on stage and perform for anybody because I didn't feel like I had that energy to give because I didn't have that in myself for myself. So, um, yeah, basically, I took that 2 years off and got, where I needed to be with my mental health and got that under control and got, healthy again. And I was like, back then, I was like drinking quite a bit and we were traveling a lot. And it just I felt like I was in turmoil. I was going through a really bad breakup and it was a lot of stuff going on. So I just needed a break and to recenter myself. So that's definitely like my perspective on, crawling out of that hole. And that's like pretty much what I try to stay focused on these days is just being a positive person and staying on that path. So
Wasn't that? I mean, isn't it funny how your music definitely reflects where you're at in your life? I mean, I'm noticing, especially now, like, what the hell's wrong with me? This song's like kind of happy and stuff. You know what I mean? Like when it's just it's something that I actually cognitively notice when I'm writing or something like that. I'm like, I'm genuinely like a little bit more of a happy person now. I've established some boundaries and I've eliminated some toxic relationships and I've done some things like that, and it's been hard work and it's been terrible, and it's like I kind of feel like the Trapped Here EP kind of like documented, the lows.
yeah,
I really felt like it kind of in a way it was like validation for me to go at this still and to be able to do it and to chase my dream because I was told that I couldn't. And I've had people think it's a pipe dream and it's this stuff and whatever it is, I don't really care what anyone else thinks. I'm doing this because I like to do it. But as I'm progressing as a musician and as I'm writing more music and I'm trying to be more introspective and trying to be more empathetic to other people's situations and all this type of stuff, because I think the world needs a lot more empathy these days. It sure seems like
absolutely.
it sure seems like nowadays nobody cares about anyone else's perspective but their own. So it's a very strange thing, and I'm noticing the stuff that I'm writing is a little more positive, a little more optimistic. But there are still things that are like so ugly out there where it goes right into the question that Krista's asking. She's asking if either of us struggle to write happy songs. She says, I've always struggled with that even when I am happy. I definitely struggle to write happy songs. To like sit down and write a song about like, yeah, this weekend's gonna be great. That to me would be like fucking impossible. But if you want me to write something that's like, you know, about depression or suicide or, you know, something weird, I don't know why, but that's
Like,
I've always been that guy, you know, like even when I was younger, I always gravitated towards the darker side of stuff. So I've never really been into, I mean, I do like pop music, but like I don't get in my car and listen to pop music. I'm listening to heavy shit or country or, you know, depressing stuff or, you know, whatever it is. But yeah, I definitely struggle with happy songs. Your songs seem to be very optimistic to me though. Even though you have like a darkness to what you do, it does seem like your songs are a little more uplifting and encouraging sometimes.
That's exactly right, actually. I cannot write a happy song, but I can definitely write an encouraging and uplifting song. And I think I pulled it off because I am still able to tap into the dark side of things and talk about coming up out of that. But as far as just like writing like happy, I don't even know what that's. I've tried it before and it just feels wrong to me. I feel stupid and corny. I think I've written like one happy song. I guess it would be a happy song. It's a love song that I've written for Jasmine that nobody's heard.
It's crazy what happens
it's,
when you find a real love though, doesn't it?
But even that song, in my opinion, is kind of dark. Even though it's about like love and being supportive and encouraging. I think I'm good at being supportive and encouraging, and that's what my songs are. But as far as like writing a happy song about puppies and butterflies and love, and I don't think I know how to do that. I don't think I know how to do that.
I don't think I know how to do that either. But I got to tell you, like I had the most like probably the most insecure or like uncomfortable I've ever been in my life with music, definitely, like in recording and being insecure about stuff. Like when I first started recording, I was a numbskull and I was too ignorant about what I was doing to know how bad I was sucking. But now I'm in a little bit different spot because I've got a little bit more experience, and I recorded something that's it's a love song. I mean, there's some lyrics in there that are very lovey-dovey. I wrote it for my wife and I was playing it for Dawson, and when he was, he produces my stuff and he kind of had a look about him and I'm like, what are you thinking, man? What are you thinking? And I started getting a little sweaty and I was nervous and I was like, and I just straight up came out with it. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little bit insecure about this song. I don't know. This is something I'm not comfortable doing. This is something but I did want to do that. I went in there and it was so weird because I recorded 2 songs and one is by far the most angry, depressing song I've probably ever written in my life. And then the other song is the happiest song I've probably ever written in my life. So it's going to be a really weird dichotomy, and I'm probably going to lose some fans when I come out with a love song. It's fine. Screw them. If they don't,
gain some women fans.
And I need it because I got a lot of bros. I got a lot of big 2X, XL, large bros. And I don't have anybody buying them motherfucking smalls.
Same.
Bwana, I think we're going to do this the professional way. The first time we're going to hit the post. We're going to be done in an hour. Why don't you tell people where they can connect with you? Plug something. Give us a little insight.
You can reach us at www.riseagainict.com. Also in the link that he posted, our flow link, that links you to everything as far as our Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all of our streaming is also in that link as well. That's obviously Spotify, Amazon, iTunes. Please tap into the YouTube channel because there's going to be a lot of content on that YouTube channel here pretty soon. That's going to be a big venture for us. We're obviously trying to get away from Facebook because it's not as
it sucks,
productive as we'd like it to be, but that's where you can find us at. And all of those are at Rise Again ICT.
Guys, please, there's the flow page link right there. Please connect with Rise Again. They're great people, great music. I think you're going to love I think you're going to absolutely love the new material that they're going to come out with when Twist gets going with the band. I'm excited to play with you guys. I'm going to put them through the ringer next time I see them. I'm going to sit them down on my knee and tell them what time you guys need to be home, giving them a curfew, all that type of stuff. But yeah, I'm super stoked for you guys. I'm excited that you're kind of getting things rounded out, and you know, when you guys are rolling, I'm rolling a little harder. You know what I mean? Just because we kind of have the tandem going, so I'm excited about that. Bwana, it's been a privilege and an honor to have you on my first episode ever. I hope you guys that tuned in enjoyed it. I've got a lot of cool guests coming up. Bwana will definitely be coming back. It took a long time for me to get here, but I'm excited to be here, and I really appreciate you guys that tuned in, commented, interacted, all that good type of stuff. I'll be announcing the next guest this week. If you're not subscribed to me on YouTube, please do so. Search Dusty Grant. You'll be able to find me. All the episodes will be archived there. If you didn't hear this whole episode or see this whole episode, you'll be able to check it out on YouTube. But yeah, other than that, guys, we love you all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Jeremy Twist, congratulations. Rise Again, congratulations. Bwana, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. Nope.